All right, so I'm well aware that you guys probably by now have heard the news that Kathleen Kennedy is stepping down as the president of Lucasfilms as of later this year. I think they said by like the end of this year, so they'll probably have like a new person ready for them, ready to announce in, like the next few months. But yeah, Kathleen Kennedy is stepping down. I know people are like treating this like we just won World War II. I'm kind of like, eh. You see, here's the thing. I never had this vehement like outrage towards Kathleen Kennedy over the decisions of Star Wars, because while she was the head of Lucasfilms, and the buck stops with her, and I'll talk about some stuff there in a minute. But I was never like had this overly like everything like I never treated Kathleen Kennedy like the devil like some people do. I'm kind of the mindset of, yeah, she made some mistakes, and while a lot of that is she's not blameless, a lot of that also goes to like Iger and Chapek as well, as since they're the ones Kathleen Kennedy has to answer to. So while she does have power over a lot of power over Lucasfilms, remember, she's still got to answer to the people in charge of Disney, and namely Iger, then Chapek, then back to Iger. So a lot of those decisions were from her, but they also came from other directors and whatnot, and also Iger and Chapek, like I said. So yes, while Kathleen Kennedy is responsible for some bad stuff, I don't think she's all to blame. And I think like it wasn't so much that she got ousted from the company, although I do think there was some nudging, because it was weird because she got a 5-10 year extension, and now she's just like, she's 71. I guess she's like, I don't need to deal with this anymore. I'm 71. I don't want to do this no more. So by all accounts, it does sound like it was her decision to step down, even though she got the extension. But at the same time, in the back of my mind, I'm like, someone gave her a nudge. Someone definitely nudged her off the plank. Whether it be Iger or someone else, so there was some nudging going on. Anyway, so Kathleen Kennedy, like, let's be real. Without Kennedy, we wouldn't have a lot of those creative decisions we had were through her approval, and some of those bad decisions were from her approval as well. I think we can all agree that, like, you know, Force Awakens, regardless of what you think of the film now, was major in the cultural zeitgeist. Like, to have Star Wars again and having her hand in it was also great. The problem was they didn't have an idea, like her and Disney didn't really have an idea for an overarching plot. And you can make the argument George Lucas didn't have the same either, but like he had an outline. Here it was just like we're flying by the seat of our pants, and that's not how you make a trilogy. There's some planning ahead. And yes, like there was also The Mandalorian and Rogue One, but at the same time, like I also find it funny that whenever something good happened, it was like, oh yeah, Filoni and Favreau went behind Kathleen Kennedy's back to make this awesome thing. But when Favreau and Filoni clearly did something no one liked, it was like, oh, that's all Kathleen Kennedy's fault. So I'm just saying, like there was some bias going on. But I will admit that, like, yeah, Kathleen Kennedy herself didn't have a like. The problem was there wasn't a clear vision to do, what to do with Star Wars. Was it to build a new trilogy with J.J. Abrams, who also should shoulder that blame? I fully give him a lot of shit. And also where you see that lack of vision is like all the stuff that gets announced and then canceled. Like how many times do we hear that Rian Johnson's Star Wars trilogy was happening or not happening, or Patty Jenkins' Rogue Squadron was happening or not happening? There's clearly there's a lack of vision, and the next person who needs to come in here needs to have that. Like there needs to be like a legit strength of vision to it. So I do place that on Kennedy for not having like a set through line. It was just throw shit at the wall and see what sticks, and that's been kind of Disney's outline for the most part. Anyway. So that's my 2 cents on it. Now, as to who could replace Kennedy, I think it's really come down to I'd be shocked if it's anyone else but these two people. Those being Filoni or Favreau. I'm going to tell you right now, if it's Filoni, I'm not gonna like. I'm just gonna be like, what the fuck? Because Filoni's a good writer and a good idea guy, but he is very stuck in his ways. He is very stuck creatively, and you see that a lot where he just wants to throw nostalgia in your face rather than give you a solid story. More often than not, like that has been like, yes, he had a lot of great ideas for Clone Wars and Mandalorian and whatnot, but it becomes very clear that he just cannot write a solid story or be a solid showrunner half the goddamn time. Like, I don't know what the fuck he was doing with Ahsoka half the fucking time. So I think he should be. I do think he should have a hand in the writing studio, but not be a show like the head of Star Wars. I don't think that's the smart idea. Favreau, I think, is the safer bet. Jon Favreau, and you could say, oh, but he was working with Filoni on everything. Like, doesn't that count for something? Yeah, but Favreau, it clearly has a through line. Whether that be good or whatnot, that's up for you to decide. So I would say if I was given the choice between Filoni or Favreau, I would say Jon Favreau would be the better pick because he does know not only to be creative, but also he's business savvy. Like he clearly knows how to run the business. So I think that's the smarter and safer pick, is to go with Favreau and keep Filoni in a position. Not the president. I don't think he would be good at handling that. Like, I don't think it's very clear Filoni is very much interested in the Filoni Star Wars and not the Star Wars on a whole, whereas Favreau is very clearly trying to make sure all of Star Wars is working. Whereas Filoni, like I said, is very much like, it's my toy box and I'll play with my toys. And then I'll try to take everyone else's toys and make them my toys. It's cool for like it's cool to see nostalgia bait every so often, but like that gets worn out really fast. So if we want new ideas while honoring the old legacies, then it'd probably be for the best to have Favreau there, because Filoni's going to be more like nostalgia bait. It's going to be like with Kathleen Kennedy all over again, with throwing nostalgia bait as much as she can on those parameters. Like I said, it's either going to be one of those. I think we can all agree it's going to be one of those two. I know some people are saying, oh, George Lucas is going to come back. George Lucas is like in his 80s and he's a billionaire. He ain't going to give a shit. He's got his money. He's fine. At most, he'll probably be like creative consultant, if they do include him in Lucasfilms again. Also, I will say, Kennedy has a lot to blame with Dial of Destiny, which I watched and was like, oof. But again, everything about that movie, I wish it worked. But that's neither here nor there. Anyway, so I'm just kind of like hopeful that the next person, which will probably be Filoni or Favreau, I'd be surprised if anyone else gets that position. Like, I would be genuinely surprised. While I don't think Kathleen Kennedy is Satan incarnate, she definitely had a lot of blame. But also at the same time, this is a business, and she had to answer to somebody else. So maybe it's for the best she stepped down. I think like if you're going to retool this business, whether that be from her own volition or not, that who can say right now. I'm sure like you're going to go on see a bunch of YouTube channels being like, yeah, Disney made the right decision and destroyed her career after like what, 7, almost 10 years now of saying like, oh, Kathleen Kennedy's done, she's finally gone of her own choice. Anyway, so let's just see where this goes, because yeah, we can't have like things like the Book of Boba Fett and the Acolyte again. I just can't do it, guys. I can't. I saw the trailer for Andor Season 2, and that is the only life Star Wars is giving me right now. Anyway, so you guys tell me in the comments below, what do you guys think is next for Star Wars? Are you guys happy that Kennedy's gone? Do you think she was bad as everyone said she was? I don't think so. Where do you think what do you think she was fired? I don't fucking care, actually, if she was fired or not. That's not the right question. Who do you want to see run Star Wars now? That's the best one. Just comment below, let me know. Other than that, hope you all enjoyed this. I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.